Hey everybody, this is Mike High, and he's the captain,
Nighttime
operator of our wastewater treatment facility. And so he's going to give us a great tour of his facility here. But this is Mike High.
Hey guys, how is it? We're going to kind of go through some stuff, and I'm going to give it to you more or less in layman's terms. I don't want to confuse you with a whole bunch of stuff, but when I get done with it, you'll understand exactly what's going on.
Cool.
So,
we appreciate that.
What we have here, this is called the observation deck for whatever reason. The operator just kind of sits here. We've got the computer. This is a DCC system, and what that does is it shows us what's going on in the plant. We just glance at it every once in a while. And if you look outside here through the windows, you can kind of see where all the action takes place. And I'm going to show you real quick here. This is our lab, which is locked up right now. If you kind of shoot through the window there, that's where we do all of our testing on the water just to see what's going on. And we usually do that in the morning. So our lead operator does that in the morning. So we're going to go out now and take a look at the plant itself. Okay, what we have here, these are called trains. There are 3 of these. There are 3 separate units, and each one of them is a self-contained bit of treatment. They all work exactly the same way. As you can see, number 2 is offline. We're having a little bit of trouble with some of the tanks on it. They've started to corrode a little bit in there, and there's a couple other items on there that this one is down for, so it hasn't been on all year. This is train number 1, and there's train number 3. We're going to go, and I'm going to take you through the process from where it comes in, so we'll be back to these.
Okay.
Okay, so if you've seen, I guess you can shoot some footage outside. You can kind of see it through the window. Everywhere you see these metal pipes on the station here, that's all the wastewater coming down to the plant.
Oh.
So everything comes down here at some point from all of the buildings on site. And it's all coming down. There's a large pit down here which you can't see. Everything goes into it, and it's got pumps that pump it up. Okay. These 2 green items right here, these are they're called masticators, or what the brand name of them is Muffin Monster.
Muffin Monster.
Yeah, they're called Muffin Monster. And what they do is they grind everything that comes into the plant up. So if you have any kind of solids or anything, it'll grind them up. By the Antarctic Treaty, the only thing we actually have to do is grind it up, and then we can just dump it straight out into the Sound. But we don't do that because we're trying to be good stewards of the environment. We want to clean it up as much as we can. So after it comes through the Muffin Monster, anything big and gets ground up, this is raw wastewater here that's coming in. And you can see it's not quite as nasty as you think it would be. It just looks kind of like muddy water. You'll see a little bit of food every once in a while in there, maybe a little piece of poop, but not too much. It's going to come through there, and this is measuring how much flow we have. Okay. We're going to come across here. Sorry, let me climb that. This is a bar screen. What this does is anything that gets through the masticator over there, it gets caught up on the bar screen right here. And we take the potato rake like this, and we'll just kind of pull up on it. There's usually not much, as you can see. Most everything is pretty much done on there. So what we do is we just pick it up, and then we take it and put it into a can right there. And then that gets bagged up, and it's taken, like all the trash here at the station, everything is taken out of Antarctica. Nothing stays here. All of our waste, all of everything goes out and is taken back to the States for disposal. So here's your raw wastewater coming in again. We're going to catch anything big that comes in there. It's going to go in this splitter box, and then it's going to be split up into the 2 trains. So we're going to go down a train now. This is known as an antioxidant zone. And what this does is, there's very little oxygen in this. We're trying to grow organisms in here that will take ammonia in there, and they'll strip the oxygen out of the ammonia and leave nitrogen. They'll use the oxygen, and then the nitrogen will bubble up and it'll go off in the atmosphere, and that way we can get rid of the ammonia, which is not always good for the environment. So the antioxidant zone has very little oxygen. We're growing anaerobic bacteria in there to do that. After that, we come out here. This is the aeration basins, and as you can see, they're being stirred up pretty well, and that noise you hear in the background, we've got 4 blowers back there. We run 2 of them. I'll show you those in a minute. they're pumping air into this all the time. And if you look down here, you can see those are the diffusers for the air where it's being pumped in there and it's coming back up. To keep the activated sludge working and growing, all we have to do is just keep air and keep them in the right pH range, and the food comes in, which is the waste, and they will work on it, break it down, and eat it. The best way to do this, and this is the one that I tell everybody, instead of giving you a bunch of technical terms, the best way to give you an example of this, think of it as like a big banquet hall. And let's say you've got places for 100 people in there and unlimited food. So you open your banquet hall and it's all free, so you bring 100 people in there and you say, here, eat as much as you want. They eat, they're full, and they say, oh, I'm full, I think I'm going to go over and lay in a corner and take a nap. So they go over and lay in a corner. While they're over there, you bring more people in, so they're eating. So you've always got people eating and people laying over there. Well, after a while, the people that are taking a nap wake up and they go, hey, I'm hungry again. Well, now there's people in their way, so they can't get over there. Yeah. We can't waste out by saying, oh, this one's old and we have to get rid of him. We can't pick individual organisms up. So what we do is we say, just as an example, let's say we've got 100 organisms in here. So in order to keep the population under control, what we're going to do is every day we're going to waste 10 of that 100, so we have 90, and then they'll grow another 10 back. So we're wasting those out of there, taking them out of the process, and they'll continuously grow and they'll keep a healthy sludge. If you don't do that, the organisms will age and they'll overtake all the younger organisms, and the sludge will eventually die. So you have to keep it going like that. That's the quickest way to do it. As I said, it's being aerated all along here. What you see here is a return from a clarifier down here. We have hoses that we can use to spray it off with. We're trying to keep the foam and everything down on it. And when we get down here, this is what we call the clarifier. And if you look right here where the light is, you can kind of see there's a little bit of stuff in suspension here. Best way to explain how a clarifier works, if you think about a mud puddle, if you go out there's a big mud puddle out there and you stomp it and stir it all up, it'll get all nasty and everything. And if you leave it alone, everything will just settle down to the bottom. That's what's happening in here. Sludge comes in here, there's no aeration, nothing in there, so all the sludge will settle down to the bottom of it. It cones down and there's a pump in there. So what it does is it's pulling that back up and then it's returning it back up there. That's where you get your organisms back in there. We take them out of here, put them right back up there, let them eat again, and then they come back and go down, keep on going through the whole cycle there. From the clarifier, what you see here was the sludge I was explaining to you about the nitrification a while ago. What that is those in here, the same thing happens down there. They've stripped the ammonia off, and the nitrogen is causing the sludge to come up. It bubbles up, and I'll have to take the hose and kind of break it up so it'll go back down again. But that's where your nitrogen comes back up. Okay, so it's coming off of there, and it's going across here. We're having a little bit of a problem right now. We've got a lot of flow coming in here, so we're kind of pushing some solids over. This should be clear. That one's doing it too. So we've got a pretty good load in here. Now what I was telling you about a while ago, and you can see scum, that's oil and grease like from cooking and stuff that builds up on there. We skim that off and get rid of it. That's a byproduct of that. When I was telling you about how we get rid of the organisms when we waste them off, we put them over here. This is called a digester. And what this does, it looks about the same as your aeration basin does, but when we get rid of the certain percentage of them, we put them in here. We aerate them, but there's no food in there. So they will become cannibalistic and begin to eat each other. They can never eat each other to the point of where they're all completely gone, but every bit that they break down and eat each other, it takes that much more mass out of it, and so there's less sludge that we have to get rid of. So that's how we get rid of that. Once they've done that for a while, we'll turn the air off, as you can see here, and it'll all settle down just like it does in the clarifier. You have clear water on top of it. And you can see right there, that's being taken off. We take the water off so you have a thicker sludge when we get done with it. And when we get done with this and we have enough of it, we're going to run it through the next process I'm going to show you and get rid of the sludge. All the water, I'll show you what happens to the clear water in a moment.
Okay.
It's very loud in here, but I'm just going to open the door real quick. Those are the aeration blowers that provide the air, and that's what keeps all the organisms alive. This is called a belt filter press, and what this does is, this pump right here draws sludge down through it, and then it puts it in here to go up on the belt press. This is a polymer pump, and I don't think I have any polymer. It's kind of a white liquid. Well, it's kind of a goo like this. This stuff's really slippery. The more water you put on it, the worse it gets. It'll just keep growing exponentially. The only thing that'll kill it is salt. That's why you see we've got salt here. That'll dissolve it. But the more water you put on it, the worse it gets. We combine the polymer with the sludge because it helps to dewater it. So it's pumped up onto the top of this, and as you come over here, you'll see the belt. There are two belts here. It comes across the top belt, it goes down, and it goes in between these rollers right here, between the top belt and the bottom belt, and that squeezes the water out of it. So you come out with like a, I guess it'd be like a piece of mud, basically, is what it does. And then as it comes down here, it's scraped off, and it drops down in there. It's, you could almost make like a snowball out of it. It's that dry when it comes off.
Oh, man.
All the water that comes off of this where it's squeezed out, of course, goes right back to the treatment process and sent back up again. And there's a little bit of dry sludge down there. We're going to go down and see some of the byproduct here in just a minute. So this is the final process on how we get rid of the sludge.
So the sludge back to the United States, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So all of the solids, all of the paper waste, everything that we do on station goes back to the States. Nothing stays in Antarctica. It all has to be going out of here for the treaty. Okay, that chute here usually has one of these boxes under it. And what it does is the sludge will come down and fall in that. And I'm going to show you something really cool. You guys are going to like this. This is a box of sludge, and it's actually growing tomatoes in it. Tomatoes do not digest in your digestive tract. When they get in there, they will continue to grow, and you can grow pretty much anything you want. Now, a lot of people look at this and they go, ooh, this is poop. This is not. This is dead microorganisms. You can pick it up. You can see it's kind of crunchy, and I'm going to let him have a whiff of it. I'll hold it right here. All it does is smell like dirt. There's no smell to it. It smells just like dirt.
Dirt.
These are dead organisms. That's all there is. There's no poop in there whatsoever, which is why they grow the tomatoes in here. So anyway, we fill these boxes up, and then we band them up like this, and then we're going to put them outside. They carry them off. They sit them over there. And then if you guys got to see the supply ship that was in the other day, after they bring all our supplies in, they take all of this and all the trash and take it back out. So it's taken off site. And that's how we get rid of the sludge. I'm going to take you over now and show you the very last stage of this, which is where we disinfect it and dump it out. I'm going to take a shortcut so we don't have to go back to the steps. Did you show them the weather balloon? Did you get to do the weather balloon?
No.
Okay. If you come down about midnight tonight, the guys on site for weather, they send out a balloon. It's about yay big every night with a transponder on it. They come down here to launch it off of this. They'll let you launch it, actually.
Oh, really?
That's what these helium tanks are. They put the transponder on it. They'll let you take it and launch it. And it takes off, and then it sends back weather data. So they know what's going on in the station. Come down at midnight tonight.
Midnight?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, actually, let me rephrase that. Come down, and you can come down about 11:15. It's better because sometimes they get in here a little early, but they usually launch it right around midnight. You can hear the helium tanks they use for it. They play it right here.
Oh, cool.
A little bit of trivia for you guys. This is called the pig room. Couldn't figure out why. I was told when the Navy was running the station here in McMurdo, this was way back in the early 60s, they didn't have a lot of refrigeration things, so they would dig holes and they would bury meat. And they buried a bunch of pork on this site, and apparently it got forgotten. So when they went to build the plant, they were excavating it, and they started digging this up, and they were like, what is this? It's meat. It's old pork. This is now called the pig room. And you can see, it even says on the back of the door, pig room.
Make a bunch of hot dogs out of it?
Yeah. Here you are, the pig room. Okay, this is all what we just saw from up there. Those are transfer pumps. That's how we transfer it over into the digester. If you're wondering about that. Pay no mind to this. This is all stuff that's going up for construction up there. This is all of our spare parts. If we have something that breaks, we usually have an extra piece or two of it here so we can replace it instead of having to wait months for it to come down from the States.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go to the final process now, which is where all the water is going out and we're discharging it into the sound. This is called the UV room. We disinfect with ultraviolet light. There are several ways you can do it. One of the big ways of doing it is they will chlorinate it. They'll inject chlorine into it to kill all the organisms. And then they have to add sodium sulfite to it to take the chlorine out because chlorine is bad for the environment. The other way you do it is you use ultraviolet light, and I don't know if you can see down in there, but you can see the ultraviolet lights. The ultraviolet lights will kill the organisms, and they will sterilize them so they can't breathe. So as they go out, they're going to be they can't breathe, so they'll eventually die. So that's our ticket there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 6 banks of these. Each one of them has 2 bulbs in it. The water flows down through them and is exposed to light, and theoretically gets rid of everything in there. We're looking a little rough today, kids, and I apologize for this. We've got a lot of people on station, so it's kind of making a mess. This is not supposed to look like this. This should be clear water. We're losing it out of the clarifiers up there. Later on, once the flow goes down, this will settle down. We'll be dumping it out. Now, before you think that this is like awful for the environment, it's not ideal. But because this is biological and there's nothing in it but just organisms, there's no poop or anything in it. When this goes out, actually, the life out in the sound probably likes this. There's a lot of nutrients in this, so the krill and everything are probably like real happy to see it. Again, ideally, we don't want to do this, and we don't usually do it. This is just a bad day because we've got so many people on station right now. But anyway, this is how we treat wastewater down here at the McMurdo Station from the beginning to the end. How it goes, again, you got your measurement. This will, it's an ultrasonic meter. It'll tell us how much we're doing it. We do about somewhere between 20 and 30,000 gallons a day during the summer. And then in the wintertime, it'll drop way down. We're down to a couple hundred gallons because you only got a couple hundred people here then. So this is a small plant. Now, a lot of them up in the States where you guys are, if you live in a big city, some of the big wastewater plants up there can be like 7, 8, 10 million gallons a day. They're huge plants. So it's a lot different. So anyway, I'm going to give you a plug, kids. If you want a career choice and you don't want to have to do a whole lot of work, one of the best things you can do is be a wastewater operator. You don't have to go to college for it. All you need is your high school diploma and get in somewhere where you get a little bit of training into it, and you get licensed by whatever state you're in, and that gives you the ability to work. And a lot of the other states will recognize different licenses from different states. Pay is really good, and here's another thing that a lot of people don't know. If you live in a town and you have police and firemen in there, there's nothing that says that they have to provide the police and firemen. So if everything goes really bad and they can't pay anybody, they'll lay the police and firemen off. You as a wastewater operator cannot be laid off by law. Federal law says if there is a wastewater plant, it must be manned all the time. So you will always have a job no matter what you do.
Wow.
So consider that. We have a lot of openings coming up. A lot of the guys are getting older. They're retiring. We don't have a lot of people coming in. Think about it. It's a really good career.
Gosh. Thanks, Mike.
Yep, no problem.
Great tour. We sure appreciate what you do.
Well, we're trying to be as good as stewards of the environment as we can. A lot of the other countries that do it, they'll either take their waste out and just dump it in the ocean out there a ways off, or again, by treaty, all you have to do is grind it up and they'll do that. The Kiwis, the New Zealand people next door, and we both have decent plants. Again, I apologize for this, but we do the best we can to try and really make it as pristine as we can down here.
Wow. Well, thanks for the tour, Mike.